before talking about escaping the rat race by investing in other vehicles, such as real estate, right? And how people physically, you can only work a certain amount of hours a day, right? So they recommend you need 8 hours of sleep. If you're in your 20s, you only need 5. And that's why I always tell people, if you're in your 20s, just work. Just work.
Yeah.
Before you get tired, right? Because then when you're in your 30s or 40s, you're like, oh, I need my coffee. I need my 8 hours of sleep. But yeah, so there's 24 hours in a day. You work 8 hours a day. Normal, right? People, what's considered normal, 8 hours a day. You commute 1 hour each way. That's 10 hours. Another hour just to get ready. That's 11 hours. And then 8 hours to sleep. Now you're at what, 19 hours? So you have 5 hours to change your life. 5 hours at a time. That's not including eating, running errands, taking care of family members, watching Netflix. So when we take real estate, for example, and I'm glad you brought up my previous podcast because I do want to put more of this information out there.
Yeah.
So you're working a certain amount of hours, you're working overtime to save money. Let's say you do get that other vehicle, you invested in real estate, you bought real estate. In California, at least, over the last 30 years, you have over 7% appreciation, right? So like when you're talking about $1 million home, like that's a lot of appreciation 1, 2, 3 years down the line. So yeah, you can easily, so you can't work OT like that for 3 years.
No.
Trust me, I tried. You cannot. But when you're putting your money into real estate like that, that real estate is appreciating 24 hours a day,
Yeah.
7 days a week. That it does not sleep, right? And in those 3 years, now you're like, okay, cool. I have equity here, $40,000 that I could take out tax free
Yes.
with even lower interest rates and invest into more real estate or other important. Buy a whole Bitcoin if you want, you know? So thank you for bringing up my previous podcast episode.
Yeah.
And that's what I mean, right? Like this is such a deep rabbit hole. Like it's just, there's so much to learn. But we got to start somewhere. And that's where your book starts. Fishing for Investment starts back in the basics. And you even talk about the different ways of fishing. So let's go ahead and move on to that a little bit. And go into more detail about those different. We just discussed one. This is the real estate, which I guess you can call it a buy and hold. But there's other things, right? You're investing in crypto. So tell us about the different ways to fish.
So the book is like a whole metaphor, right? It's it's teaching people how to invest. We're teaching people how to fish. There are different ways that people can invest. You know, real estate's one. Earning interest is another. People can get into digital assets like Bitcoin, Cardano. The way I see it is like in the future, maybe 5, 10 years down the road, 20 years down the road. Because anyone that invests, they have to have that long-term thinking, a long-term mindset. When I invest now, it's not $100 is $100. It's $100 is going to be worth possibly $1,000. And that's kind of like my mindset as far as like whenever I do buy some like Cardano or do buy some Bitcoin, it's like it's not for now. I'm not doing this now.